question from our buddy Andrew, who is trying to get to purple belt. He's a blue belt currently, and he's wondering if I have any concepts or ideas that might help him get to that point and help him get over this hard part of training that he's after. So Andrew, thanks for the question, dude. Thank you for all the comments. I appreciate it. And let me sort of get you to think about my training, and maybe this will help you, because I don't think that there's any secret to getting belts. It's pretty simple, but there is a mindset that will help serve you in a better way than being sort of goal-oriented in jiu-jitsu. And so when I first started training in jiu-jitsu, I did not even think about purple. So my coach at the time when I first started was a purple belt. And so the idea of black belt, brown belt, or even purple belt was just off the table. I was like, I'm never going to be at that point, right? And I guess I was a little bit younger at the time, and I had only had one successful year of wrestling, sort of going even back or even a little further. My first experience in grappling was as a wrestler. I was 235 pounds, a little fat kid, and got into wrestling, and I lost a bunch of weight, got into better shape, started chasing medals in wrestling, and then quickly realized that no matter how good I got, or even when I achieved the goals that I had set for myself, like losing 40 pounds and winning, these big tournaments, it was never enough. And then when I got into jiu-jitsu, the idea of like black belt or any of that stuff was just like, it wasn't even on the table. So my idea was like, maybe I'll get a blue belt, but because I really didn't believe in my ability to achieve these big goals, my focus then became just day to day. Like I was like, all right, what am I doing? I don't know what my end goal is. I mean, maybe if I get a belt someday, that's fine, but I'm just worried about training right now. That's all I'm worried about. I'm worried about hitting an armbar today. I'm worried about trying to not let my guard get past. I'm worried about just not getting submitted by one of the higher belts. Those were the things that I would focus on, just day-to-day things, right? And that has served me so much better in my training, because when, for instance, a lot of people get the blue belt blues, right? And they get that blue belt, they become attached to the idea of being a blue belt. And when they finally get there, they climb that mountain. And then once they're standing on top, they look up and, oh, there's another one. Shit. Right, and it takes you get to that end result. You thought you were going to be satisfied with that, but there's so much more to go, right? And again, it happens the same way. Some guys win big titles, and they think that winning a big title is going to be satisfying to them. And when they get there, boom, they get the title, and then it's like, oh well, now what? There's so much more left. I got more in me, and it's why guys get black belts, and they still are training all the time. It never ends. You let those goals that you have, let them be sort of like a guiding, sort of the light at the end of the tunnel, right? That's what it is. It's the light at the end of the tunnel. But understand that when you get out of that tunnel and you get to the light, there's more road ahead. The road never ends. There's markers along the way, there's pit stops, but the road never ends. And so you can't be too attached to this idea of wanting to be a purple belt, because if you do, one, when you finally get to purple belt, you're going to be really unsatisfied when you get there and be like, shit, I was expecting something more, right? Or when you're not making progress, and at least you think you're not, you're going to get frustrated with yourself. You're like, man, I want to be there already. You're becoming impatient. In order to be successful in jiu-jitsu, I believe for the long haul, you really have to focus on the day-to-day stuff and fall in love with the whole process of it. Fall in love with just the day-to-day training, right? Make your goals small. Let the idea of purple belt or whatever it is, the goal that you want, let that be somewhere in the back of your mind. But on a day-to-day, understand that that's the stuff that really matters, because your consistency in the gym, your dedication to the training that you're doing, focusing on hitting your techniques and all that stuff that you can do right now, that day when you're training, that stuff is so much more important than thinking about, oh man, how am I going to get that purple belt? Or how am I going to get that title in this, whatever it is, right? So that would be my advice to you, Andrew. Let go of the attachment that you have to getting that purple belt, and instead fall in love with the process. And you might already be, right? Just forget about the purple belt and just fall in love with the process of training. Let that purple belt come when it may, but don't be so fixated on getting it, because if you do that, it's going to frustrate you, because you're going to become impatient, and you can't be in the here and the now, because you're always thinking about what's next. Think about what you're doing right now, and I promise you that will help you way more than any particular little piece of advice on techniques or anything else I could give you. Hope that video helps. Talk to you guys next time.